Hi everyone, Sam here from Outer Limits. Just putting together an information video for the Belgian Gardens Grade 6 Wilderness Camp in Paluma coming up in Term 4. You have all been emailed the equipment list and we're going to go through all the equipment here today with you, including what to pack in each bag and also how to pack your hiking bag. So as per, if you're watching this video, get out the equipment list and we'll roll through in that order. So the first item is the sleeping bag. You can see here, now it's not going to be very cold overnight, so we don't want a super large sleeping bag. Okay, we want something that's going to fit generally in the bottom of their backpack. It's not going to take up too much room, that will keep them warm and comfortable over night time. And once you've got that bag chosen, a compression bag or the sleeping bag compression bag is ideal to make sure that they're compressed as small as possible. Now I always use a dry bag because the sleeping bag goes in the bottom of your pack, and if it rains, if they slip into a creek, we definitely want to keep that sleeping bag dry. So if it is already in its own little compression bag, a heavy duty garbage bag, pop it in there, curl up the top of it and plop that in the bottom of your pack. I'll just quickly pop this one in here now so that it's ready for when we pack the bag at the end of the video. Often it's the problem that the sleeping bag is too large, and that's the reason we can't fit everything else into a 45 to 50 litre pack. They should really all fit. So as you can see, squish that in there nice and tight. Item number one, sleeping bag. Number two is your backpack. Some of you have used some of our Outer Limits packs, which is great. They are reasonably similar to this. Hiking packs are best if they've got a few extra zips and pockets to fit everything in. And most important that you try and put everything, sleeping bag, overnight clothes, everything in that bag and it fits on the student comfortably. Obviously there's a few different size students, so you just need to make sure that it fits and that it's not too heavy. We will assist when we get onto camp, but if it does have a waist strap, that is definitely ideal, and a chest strap there is good as well. And if you are splashing out, you want a new pack, we always like ones that have a pocket for the water bottle on the outside. Just makes life so much easier when you're hiking along. And we'll get to packing that in a little while. Next item on the list is the foam mattresses, which we do supply on camp, and a pillow for a little bit of extra comfort. So there's a few things. This is about the biggest item you want to be taking in your pack as a pillow. There's no need to take a big cushion because it just fills up space, and for the few nights that they're out there. So an inflatable pillow is great, they're pretty cheap to get. The other one is to use a compression bag and then put their additional clothes in it, and you stuff it in like a stuff sack, and then you have yourself a pillow overnight of the clothes that you are not wearing. That always helps. A headlight, and you'll see on the list a headlight is recommended, a torch is okay. Often walking around at night time, having hands free, putting a light on your head is ideal. Spare batteries in a Ziploc bag is also good. And a little tip that you can take a battery out and turn it around and pop it back in, because they do have a tendency to turn on when they're shoved in a backpack, loaded onto the bus, loaded onto a trailer and finally get to camp, and if your light's been on for a few hours, the battery could go flat. So that is also a good little tip. And a water bottle. So we like to use a wide opening water bottle so that when we fill it up out of the creeks it's much easier to fill up, and a water bottle that fits onto a bidon or a bike bottle holder on your bike. So that way, once the students move from the hiking leg to the biking leg, they don't take their backpacks, but they just take one water bottle. So no aluminium water bottles, no fancy, large, crazy things, just a standard plastic sports water bottle is ideal. Pop their name on it so we know whose is whose and they don't lose it. Next, a lightweight trekking towel. So these days there's some pretty flash chamois towels, lightweight microfiber towels. Again, that is going to go in their hiking bag that goes with them. You don't want it too heavy, too bulky, okay, but they're definitely going to need a towel to keep themselves clean and dry while they're out there. And then dry bag. So you can see that I've used a dry bag here for my sleeping bag. and I have another bag here that I'll be putting my clothes and my towel in. Now this can also be a heavy duty garbage bag or Ziploc bags. They are great, but make sure they're the double zip, slightly heavier ones. And you can also put then individual items, towel, clothes, nighttime clothes, into those Ziploc bags. And if you like, you can even write on those as well. And that way they're nice and organised in the backpack. And then, once you've got them in the Ziploc bags, put them into a large dry bag or into a heavy duty garbage bag that we use as a bag liner. So that way, if it is pouring rain and we're out there all day, everything is dry inside that backpack. Hat. On the hike and on the bike, they're definitely not going to see the sun because they're under the thick rainforest canopy. But when we're at the Adventure Centre, playing around there, and definitely out doing water sports, so a wide brim hat is ideal. A cap will get you out of trouble. Jacket, probably one of the most important ones being in Paluma. Definitely no ponchos, and you can get a small rain jacket that'll pack in that is okay, but an outer layer, because being October can rain and we do want to keep them as comfortable as we can. So a hooded jacket, seam sealed with a zip that's nice and comfortable. A jacket is definitely a good item to have. Hiking shirt, so lightweight, sweat wicker, so a fishing shirt is ideal, or your button up hiking shirt, nice light fabric, no cotton, because once cotton gets wet it won't dry, it will smell, and it will get cold really quickly. Hiking pants, so just your standard. Tracky dacks are okay. My favourites to take on camp are actually the ones that zip off, and that way when we're at the Adventure Centre or at the dam we can actually zip them off. We've got a pair of shorts if it's nice and warm, or we have the long pants. Now we always hike in long pants, obviously for safety reasons, being out in the rainforest. Long pants are definitely a must. Socks. On that page, socks, jocks and warm jacket. Socks must be long socks, no ankle socks. We call it, you've got to have a good sock game. So that reason being, leeches, vines, mud, tripping over, okay, and then dirt just gets into your socks and shoes and socks and makes it worse. So a nice long pair of socks is ideal. Comfortable underwear, warm jacket. Warm jacket over here, and we'll get through where they go later on, or a nice warm jumper that I'm actually going to take in my hiking bag, and we'll go through that once we start packing. Nighttime clothes, so something nice and light. They'll be hiking or doing all their daytime activities in one set of clothes, which will be in those long pants and in your long fishing or hiking shirt. Then when you get to camp each night, they will then have a swim or freshen up and then hop into their nighttime clothes, which could be shorts and t-shirt if it's warm, or it might be a long pair of thermal pants and a long sleeve warm top. And we want to keep that clean and dry during the day. So it is in a Ziploc bag that says nighttime clothes, and it's obviously reasonably small, so we don't want to take big puffy hooded jumpers or anything. So my nighttime clothes consist of a nice light jumper with a t-shirt, and then I have my thermal, so they're not very large, and then that's warm stuff, and then just shorts and t-shirt, because if the sun is out and it is lovely and warm, we just transition into a t-shirt while we're sitting around camp of a night time. Then those clothes get taken off and we put our dirty smelly clothes back on for hiking the next day, because it is just a continual. We do not change clothes every day and end up at the end of the camp with 4 sets of dirty clothes. Bike riding clothes, they are an additional, if you have gloves, if you do have favourite bike pants or a favourite bike riding t-shirt, there's an option to throw those in as well, and there's a bag that they can be particularly packed in. Spare clothes as well, so again I've just got another t-shirt and pants and socks, because they are out there for several days, and when they get to a certain point, if if their clothes are wet and dirty, and there's another set there for them to use, but they don't have to carry this item all the way around. Hiking shoes, probably the most important piece of equipment on this camp. I was on a camp the other day and students' soles fell off, and luckily I had gaff tape and I literally taped the shoes back on because we were out in the middle of nowhere. So, one, don't bring brand new shoes that you haven't worn before, but don't bring your oldest pair of shoes because you think they're going to get ruined. Okay, you need to make sure that they're comfortable, that you've worn them, that they have very good tread, okay, and you know they just fit well. And also the socks. So shoes match the socks, you've worn them before, you've tried and tested, okay, and they are very comfortable. Trail shoes are great. The light hiking boots, if you're going to splash out or you wanted to get a new pair of shoes, a light hiker or mid hiking boot is ideal. You will get away with your standard pair of joggers, but you just need to make sure they have a reasonable tread on them, nothing with a really smooth sole, because it's a slippery, tricky rainforest and it's already hard enough without them putting ice skates on with no tread on their shoes. So make sure they've got a good pair of shoes for camp. And we also bring along a pair of water shoes for the water activities, which are a lightweight pair of reef shoes. Anything that's sandals would do the trick, anything, because we can't have the students walking across the stones and everything, and of course we don't want to get your normal shoes wet. So a pair of reef shoes is ideal, they're pretty cheap to get a hold of. Could use an old pair of joggers because they don't have to hike in them, so that would be okay as well. Toiletries. Now, we're definitely not going to pack large family size of anything. No soap goes on camp because we're up in the wilderness, and where we do have the showers at the Adventure Centre, we supply the soap that's there, so we don't need anything to go out. We have toothbrush, toothpaste, and if you go to the travel section you can pick up a toothpaste that is this big. Okay, we don't need a large toothpaste, it's just too heavy to carry. Roll-on deodorant, toothbrush, okay, pretty simple, into a Ziploc bag, pop their name on it. We don't need a heavy, bulky, zipped up toiletry bag at all. Pop it into a Ziploc. Just a few small items from the travel section is definitely the way to go. Airguard and sunscreen. So we won't be needing a lot of either. Sunscreen at the Adventure Centre when we're doing the water sports. Roll-on is best, okay, just because sometimes little pump bottles do make a bit of a mess in the backpack. But definitely small, and same with the Airguard. Up in the rainforest in October, the mozzies are not too bad, so really we don't need much. If we happen to see a leech, roll-on is ideal, and you know, eventually we're going to end up with 20 of these, okay? So look, you can almost live without some of those things. And on the last page there is snacks. So I packed some of my snacks, bag of lollies in some Ziplocs, a muesli bar and some bites. Now these are going to go into a large Ziploc bag with the student's name on them, because each night at camp they need to be put into a separate storage box so that the rats don't eat them out of their backpack. So just make sure that that is in the top of their backpack with their name on it, and that they don't eat all those items at once. And no, it could be in their bag for a few days, so just make sure you pack their favourites that are going to last a little while, but don't give them a 500 gram bag of lollies, because you know they're just going to be carrying around weight they don't need. We do supply plenty of energy food on camp, you know, marshmallows, M&Ms, chocolates, chips. We have all the favourite stuff, but if they've got some of their treats that they would like, we do allow this to go on to our camp. Oh, and on the lollies, no single wrap lollies, definitely not, because we just find they make too much of a mess. Entertainment, if you wanted to bring some, it's a no phone, no device policy on camp, but we would allow an old school camera if you happen to find one of those.